These podcasts I'm about to share with you are the best self-improvement podcasts you can possibly listen to. They go way beyond the norm in terms of teaching, life experiences, and just giving free value and mindset that it will literally blow your mind. These will change your perspective. These are the top 3 podcasts you can listen to. Number 1, we have Achieving Your Goals with Hal Elrod. Now, if you don't know who Hal Elrod is, he is the author behind The Miracle Morning. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a whole book on morning routines and how morning routines can essentially change the direction your life is going in, because you control the morning, you control what you do. So basically it goes by this method called SAVERS, and it's a big acronym that I'm not going to go over right now. I'll go over that in my other videos about the morning. If you want to check that out, please do. I will link it in the description and in the upper corner, one of those corners. Anyways, he's a big deal, and he interviews a lot of top-notch people. I'm talking doctors, experts, and national best-selling authors under 30. That's right. So this podcast is valuable to me because it goes to the internal. So it's called Achieving Your Goals, but more of it is based on you and your inner self. So it's understanding your confidence. It's really understanding yourself, mastering your emotions. He has this one podcast episode called Becoming Emotionally Invincible, and it is amazing. Like, it changed my perspective on emotions and how we look at it. And I've read books, and I've been intentional about emotions for several years now, and even with what I know about emotions, like, that takes it to the next level. So it goes about internal battles you have going on with yourself. It's about fears. It's about doubts. It's about overcoming hardships in your life. It's about working on yourself so that when you're achieving your goals, it's like not only are you achieving your goals, but you're working on yourself while you're achieving those goals. It's like when you practice a free throw. Just practicing a free throw by yourself, yeah, you might work on your accuracy, but when you're in an actual game and people are in front of you trying to block you, how well are you under pressure? It's more about, while you're pursuing your goals, what are you doing to work on yourself outside that? What books are you reading? What are you feeding yourself? What are you listening to? That kind of thing. And it's not about motivation, because motivation isn't going to stay there. It's about how can you become your best self while you're pursuing a certain journey, or while you're on a certain journey, because that is essentially what's going to make you into that person that needs to become who you need to be. So if you have self-limiting beliefs, if you understand and notice that you're in your own way, that's the first one I would recommend, because that one works from an internal standpoint, and it's not so much about goals this, goals that, mark this off the list. No, it's like, work on yourself first while you're doing that. So that's the first one. Number 2, bigger pockets. Now, you're going to notice the thing with these. It's going to be about businesses and making more money and stuff like that. That's what I'm into. Like, look at my videos. How many of my videos are about money, right? But no, Bigger Pockets is actually a real estate podcast. And it sounds like it'll be boring, but it's like not. It's actually the most interesting thing I've ever listened to in my life, because they don't just go and speak about real estates and what deals they made and how much money they made. They talk about what it took. A lot of these people were initially struggling. Some of these people are like 20, 21 years old, making $600,000 per sale, not per year, per sale when they sell the properties. And it's just amazing things from really amazing people, and you get all kinds of really, really, really good book recommendations, business advice, networking advice, people advice. But the underlying thing is the people of the podcast, David and Brandon, they are just freaks of nature when it comes to information about life and about books to read and their mindset. So they share things and they address a lot of the misconceptions about personal growth. They say, look, this isn't about motivation. This isn't about read 60 books a year or listen to multiple podcasts a day. No, it's about okay, you're listening to that, but what do you think about it? What is your honest opinion about what you've learned today? Because it might not resonate with you. It might not even make sense to you, and you straight up might not agree with it, or it just might not work for you. So they address that. They're like, how much of what you're learning and taking in every day are you actually putting into action? Because we live in a society of information overload. We're also in a society of inaction, and that is horrible. It's like we have all this wisdom, but no one's applying the knowledge. And people say knowledge is power, but really applied knowledge is what's power. So applying it effectively is what'll really get you somewhere. If you notice, a lot of the advice that people give, it sounds good, it sounds easy, it sounds like it's simple to implement, but once you start implementing it, you see that there's problems, and that's exactly what they address in this podcast. And of course, they interview some really big hotshot real estate investors, and in one episode, they even had one of the co-hosts interviewed by a completely other podcast and put it within this podcast. Confusing, I know, but it's just interesting hearing the stories of people who are just killing it in their industry. And then when they tell you from their humble beginnings of making about $2,000 a month at the regular job, and how they took a leap of faith, or how while they were working, they were also working on other stuff behind the scenes that got them to where they are. That type of stuff right there, it motivates you. I mean, it's not meant to just motivate you, it's meant to put you into action, but it's a really good feeling just to hear these things like, man, this is actually possible. Once you expose yourself to what is possible over and over again, you just get value and value and value. And that's why this is one of the more this is my top, absolutely, this is my top self-improvement podcast. My favorite thing about this podcast is it cuts away any excuse you can have. They talk about real estate investors who literally started with $0 and made it work. They found a mentor, they added value to their mentor did the buying, they did, and then, the mentee did everything else. And then eventually they got half, the person who spent the money at half, and you'll understand how this stuff works if you listen to it. But it's not just about real estate. It teaches you a strategy of how to deal with people, and really how to deal with life, because life happens in the middle of this. There's a bunch of single people and a bunch of married couples who either have kids or have other things in life going on, or they're like a big shot at work in addition to real estate investing, or they're entertainers, or whatever the case may be, and they are just killing it in any way, shape, and form. And they talk about the Zig Ziglar thing, which I talked about in my last video, which if you haven't seen that, go check it out. It will add extreme value. It's probably my most valuable video to date, honestly. But they talk about how the same amount of intentionality in your physical health is the same amount of intentionality they put in their business, in their career, in their family life, in their relationships, in their finances. So check that out. I'd also like to add that podcast is a really good thing to put within your daily habits, because how many people watch TV every day, right? Netflix or cable, or even YouTube series, videos, whatever the case may be, or like just listen to music every day, right? So it's not going to be hard to implement these things into your life. It should be a habit, because it would add the optimum amount of value to your life. And this is because you're constantly feeding yourself positivity, and some of this positivity comes with struggles, but it comes out, the person always comes out on top, versus you might be watching a drama on TV or Netflix where maybe things aren't always good, or maybe there's always drama. And so like when you're constantly feeding yourself ideas and possibilities for yourself, you're doing more for yourself than if you were just watching TV or watching a movie or watching some drama series, or even reading like a book that's like about drama. You know what I'm saying? Like it adds more value that way. If you're serious about making these habits in your life, and you have struggles with making them habits in your life, I would recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear, and then once again, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, because really the books are amazing, and they tell you about the power behind consistency and how you can make something this small into something much, much bigger. Both of these books will be linked in the description. Before we get to the third one, I want you guys to comment down below, which podcast are you going to try first? I will be following you guys in the description to see which ones you choose and why. All right. Number 3, what we've all been waiting for. Last but certainly not least, smart passive income with Pat Flynn. Oh my gosh. Like, y'all just don't even understand. Obviously, I'm obsessed with passive income and making more money, right? But this podcast, again, focuses on the person behind the business. And it's amazing what you'll find when you realize that these people are just putting so much intention in their personal growth, in their personal development, or the self-improvement, whichever one you want to call it. These people have business explosions and they generate millions and millions of dollars a year. And they're not famous. That you might not have heard of all of them, but I bet you've heard of Marie Forleo. I bet you've heard of Marcus Brownlee. I bet you've heard of Sean Cannell or James Clear, the author of one of the books that I recommend all the time, Atomic Habits. By the way, that is linked in the description to make podcasts into your habits. But those 4 people I just listed, he interviews them. They're like a big deal. We have New York Times best-selling authors. We have YouTube millionaires in here, you know what I mean? Like, we have people who are big deals on this show. And some people you don't hear about are like single moms behind really big businesses that have literally disrupted an entire market. You have like a single mom of multiple kids, right? And she has work and it's not the best job and it doesn't pay a lot of money and, you know, she's just getting by, but then she has this idea about a blog. So on the side, she's doing that and she's raising her kids. And it's like the personal development keys that they focus on in this show is how the heck did you manage your time with having all of those kids and your job, and you run a business that literally disrupted an entire market and has generated millions and millions of dollars? How did you manage your time with that? And then they have strategies about how she legit managed time, and it's mind-blowing stuff that I've never read in a book, that I've never learned about in school, that I've never even heard anybody discuss. And it's really about just breaking big things into smaller chunks, and it is just such a powerful podcast. But amongst the personal growth stuff, it legit teaches you how to make more money for free. Like, you could probably learn more in this podcast than you would with the business degree about how to make money online or how to make passive income or how to make just a business in general. They go through ClickFunnels, email marketing, retail arbitrage, which is basically just buying and then reselling a product for more than you paid for and all that stuff. Amazon FBA, affiliate marketing. The list goes on and on and on. It even shows you how to make a very successful YouTube channel with 2 of the guys that I mentioned before, YouTube superstars. And these are the types of things that I'm talking about. Like, podcasts add so much value and it is absolutely nuts. Something I want to focus on is these podcasts are not always super duper positive, like rainbows and butterflies. Like, no, like they tell you legit their shortcomings, but they also tell you their wins. And something always gets them going. And the key I see between the 3 of these podcasts is the person behind the story was just so stubbornly persistent that they just had to have what they set their eyes on, that they didn't let anything stop them. They didn't let any excuse stop them, because they realized early on that there's 1,000,001 reasons why I shouldn't have what I want. But I'm going to make sure that every last one of them doesn't get in my way. You know what I'm saying? Like, how powerful is that thinking in that mindset? Also, here's a tip. If you're going for something right now in your life, don't just look forward to the end goal. I mean, do it. Like, you want to keep your eyes on the prize, but also here's a tip. Look forward to the problems that you're going to have on there. Research people who have done what you're trying to do, because there are so many of them, and just find out what problems did they go through before they got there, and even what are the problems that they had after they got there that they didn't think they'd have. Like, if your goal is to make 6 figures a year, or if your goal is to make $6,000 a month in passive income, or whatever the case may be, look within and see, you know what, I look forward to every single pain that I'm going to endure during this, because it's going to make me stronger. But then also be like, but you know what, it's going to be worth it once I get here. And that right there is going to instantly make you mentally stronger. just a tip that I had on my mind. I just had to give it to you real quick. Just know coming out of this video that what you do every day matters way more than what you do every once in a while. So yeah, that's my top 3 podcasts to listen to. The best self-improvement podcast out there. If you want me to make a part 2 of this video, I will, because there's so much more that I listen to, but I just wanted to give you guys the top 3, not to overwhelm you guys. So if you want to see more, let me know in the comments. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Reggie Bryant. If you want to learn more about personal development, check out my how to create a personal development plan video, and check out all my other videos. They go within every single area of your life, finances, relationships, emotions, you name it. It's on this channel. Surf through, do what you gotta do. But thank you so much for watching this video. It means so much. My channel is growing a lot faster than it was a few months ago, so thank you guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Control you, control your finances, control your life.